This Cat Doesn't Swim is the first segment of the 14th episode of the 3rd season of Mickey Mouse Funhouse, and there will be spoilers from now as I explain what happens and share some thoughts. And on the one hand, I thought it was quite interesting, but on the other, I think they made a really poor decision. They could have told the same story with just a slight twist, and it would have been significantly more beneficial. So this one's all about Pete the Mighty's party. They go there, Daisy tells some jokes, and then they have some food, and then they decide to go into the swimming pool, which is beautifully animated. It looks gorgeous, and this is the focus for the segment. Even Funny is in the pool, which I thought was quite delightful. And Bast, the cat, doesn't want to go in. Minnie and Daisy decide that they're going to give her swimming lessons without really asking her if that's what she wants. And by pure coincidence, I also watched the Minnie's Bow-Toons episode where the pet hotel where one of the dogs is struggling to swim. And it was a similar concept, but with a slightly different approach insofar as in this episode, Minnie and Daisy have to learn that they were actually trying to force Bast to do something she didn't want to do. Whereas in the Bow-Toons episode, it was very clear that the dog wanted to join in, but nerves got in the way there. So I like the fact that this one has a different approach and really highlights that Minnie and Daisy shouldn't have really almost insisted that Bast takes some swimming lessons, because she just wasn't wanting to do this at all. And Funny actually pointed out that they shouldn't make her do something she doesn't want to do, which I think is a really great lesson. And then we learn that she doesn't want to get into the pool because she doesn't like the water being in her ears, which I thought was completely fair enough. That's a valid point. I think it's a sensation that a lot of people really dislike. I might dislike it. It's been a very long time since I was in a pool, but I can't imagine I thought it was ever a pleasant feeling. And I think that on the one hand, yes, while it's relatable, it was a bad decision, because I love the solution, but not for this problem, and I will explain what I mean by this. Pete the Mighty realizes that he has to be a good party host. He has to find a good way for her to join in with the activities without forcing her to do something she doesn't want to do. So ultimately, they decide to have this splash competition, and Bast gets to go up on the balcony to be the judge. So she's high up, she won't get splashed, but she's still involved in the activity. As a solution in general, I think it's fantastic. It's showing that you can have people involved without forcing them to do something that makes them uncomfortable or scared or nervous. I love that. However, it's also a terrible solution to this specific problem. As I said, people watching it, young children in particular, might feel the same way. They might hate the feeling of water on their ears, in their ears, but they can wear earplugs. In fact, I googled it before recording this, and there are even covers that they can wear on their ears, that children can put on their ears to really fully cover the ears from the water. So people watching this are going to think, well, I'm scared of water because I don't want it in my ears. The only solution is to sit on the sidelines and maybe join in another way. But what if that person wants to go in the water? They just don't want that feeling in their ears. So this is not, in my opinion, the right solution for that problem. Had the problem been she doesn't like the feeling of water at all, or she's too scared because her feet can't touch the floor, yes, you could come up with other solutions to that. But I think that would have been a reasonable solution for her to go up on the balcony. I think that would have made more sense, whereas it's kind of delivering the wrong message for that problem. I think it's important for young viewers or any viewers to know that if the only reason you don't want to go in the water is because of your ears, there are solutions and you can still go in the water. So it's a solution for a different problem, not for this problem. But it is delivering the message that A, you shouldn't force people to do something they don't want to do. B, you need to find ways for people to feel included without forcing them to do that thing. So there are some great messages, but I think the problem was the wrong problem for that solution. It could have been not liking her fur getting wet, not feeling safe when she can't touch the bottom of the water, anything like that. And I feel like that would have been a more reasonable solution. So I actually think the solution is a really poor one for the problem, because, as I said, children absolutely can still go in the water if they want to by wearing earplugs or these things that I've just discovered that are full covers. They're like earmuffs for the water, which is a pretty interesting concept. I wonder how much that would muffle sounds, because obviously they need to be able to hear instructions when they're in the water and having swimming lessons. I imagine they're safe. I don't know. I've got no idea. But either way, this is not the solution for that problem, but it is a solution for problems the episode didn't address. And we're still getting some good messages. So all round, not the best solution in this particular scenario, but I think it still gave some good suggestions for similar but not the same problems, and ultimately some really strong messages about being kind and not forcing people to do things, and also finding ways to include them if they do have those limitations. So it's pretty good. It could have been a lot better with just a tiny tweak to Bast's problem, but other than that, it's not a bad episode of Mickey Mouse Funhouse.